have just launched a brand new flagship group set. Red AXS. Before it's even been released, it's racked up a Grand Tour victory, continuing where SRAM left off in 2023, where they won every single one of the 6 Grand Tours going. So what is it all about then? Here's your headlines. Completely redesigned levers with a new hood shape, a new lever shape and added buttons. More powerful, more adjustable and more linear progression on your braking. Smoother and faster front shifting. In a move that frankly could shake up the bike industry, the new group set has been designed in tandem with the new Hammerhead Karoo, and complete group sets and some complete bikes will come with the head unit. Brilliantly, this new group set is backwards compatible to previous or current generation 12-speed SRAM AXS group sets. Oh, and SRAM say that this is now the lightest electronic group set on the market. That was a mic drop. Oh yeah, big news, that one. Now, of course, I will tell you exactly how they've done it as we go. But before we go further, then please, if you like this kind of content, do hit the thumbs up button to let us know. And also subscribe to GCN if you don't already, because we really value your support. Right, let us turn back the clock to 2019 and the launch of the previous generation of SRAM Red AXS. No two ways about it. It was huge with a radical new look, 12 speeds, completely rethought gear ratios, clutch mechanism as standard on the rear mech, plus much more. It moved the goalposts for group sets 100%. Now, whilst this one is technically the 3rd generation of SRAM's game-changing wireless platform, it actually feels like it's Gen 2. Such was the impact of that previous one. But for this new one, though, SRAM have not ripped up the rulebook and started again, something I think is a very good thing indeed, because instead they've been able to refine rather than reinvent, to the point where it now begs the question, has SRAM Red come of age? I'll leave you to ponder that for a moment, shall we? One thing you can say for certainty is that a lot of that refinement is due in no small part down to their World Tour teams. With their input, they have tweaked and improved the previous generation SRAM Red to the point that it yielded 475 pro wins last year, apparently, including, as I mentioned, all the Grand Tours, all 6 of them. So what did they want to achieve with this one? Well, the tagline is effortless, which is a broad brief, but it does make sense when you think about it. So basically, they set out with the goal of trying to make the group set less effort to use. And that, of course, can include everything from setup to shifting, from ergonomics to weight. Right, let's start with the levers. For me, it's the first thing I notice when looking at the group set, and it's also the first thing I notice when riding the new group set as well. They've been completely redesigned, and it's a big departure from what's gone before. So the lever body is a slightly smaller diameter. It's also made longer, so you've got a bit more space for your hands. But crucially, this bit, the pommel, which is a technical term I've learned to replace the word lump or knob, is now designed specifically as an additional hand position, as opposed to, as in previous generations, somewhere simply to keep the hydraulics for the brakes. So the way they've done it is, instead of mounting the hydraulic cylinder vertically with the lever pulling on it, the hydraulic cylinder is now horizontal and the lever pushes on it. So they've moved the pivot position of the lever as well. Now, to my mind, getting that extra hand position is absolutely great, but also that different pivot placement means that the lever takes less effort to move. Now, SRAM say it's 80% less effort. I say you can definitely notice it. They also say it means that you can now brake comfortably with one finger from the hoods. And I've got to say, I agree with that. It doesn't stop there though. The lever blade has been redesigned. You have more space for your fingers behind it and it won't bottom out on the bar. It doesn't stop there either though, because it's fully adjustable for reach and also contact point adjustment, setting how far you want to be able to squeeze the brakes before they come on. And then lastly, SRAM have added buttons. These can be configured either as extra shift buttons, but also to connect up to a head unit, smart lights, whatever you fancy. One other touch I really like is regarding this textured finish on the lever body. Now, it's there not just for grip, but also to act as a setup guide. Now, clearly you can set your hoods at whatever angle you like, but SRAM's idea is that if you have it where the bottom of the ribs is effectively horizontal to the ground, then you're in a broadly optimal position, which is a cool thing to have on a top-end group set. It's going to be amazing as it filters down, presumably, to lower tiers as well. As I said a moment ago, the brakes require less effort to pull at the lever, partly as a result of that new pivot placement, but also the caliper has been redesigned as well. This new one is really very pretty. Yeah, no, I did say that out loud. But still, I mean, look at it, amazing. Apparently it gives more bite to the brakes and the whole system gives a more linear progression to the braking force as you pull the lever. Excitingly as well, weight weenies, this is the part of the group set with the biggest weight saving as well. So 83 grams across levers and calipers. Plus, you get an additional 8 grams saved off your rotors. Next up, more weight savings have been found at the Chainset. 29 grams has been lopped off through a redesign of that carbon crank, which drew in actually expertise and collaboration from their friends at Zip. There is also, I read, a new 160mm crank length option, so an extra small one, either for smaller riders or for those at the forefront of bike fit. Otherwise, the spider-based power meter option remains, but with that very nice, neat, integrated new look, which gets the thumbs up from me. Chainring sizes also remain the same from previous. I've got 48-35 on here, but there are also 3 aftermarket options for pro riders or aspiring pros, including the Mass Pedersen Special, the 56-43 chainring combo, which is designed for warp speed and above. That 10-tooth smallest rear sprocket also remains, and I mention it only because some people still question its efficiency, to which SRAM say in their tests it is still efficient, but then they also point to the rider shifting telemetry that they collect from their World Tour riders in the biggest of races, which shows that they regularly use that 10-tooth sprocket, even when paired with a 56-tooth front chainring, which is impressive and humbling in equal measures. Now, that rider shifting telemetry, by the way, is available to anyone with a Red AXS Groupset, or an AXS Groupset full stop, in fact. Once you've connected it up to a head unit, you can then access it on the SRAM AXS dashboard. While we're on the ever-exciting subject of gear ratios, it is important to note that this group set will take a maximum of a 36-tooth cassette. SRAM say this has been designed as a road group set, albeit one that is eminently capable of more, clearly, what with that orbit chain management system in the rear derailleur, that as well as keeping the chain in check over bumpy terrain, allows you to run it with a single chainring 1x setup, as well as this double. That 10-36 cassette option, by the way, that is also new at Red level. Something we first spotted at the Tour de France last year on Jonas Vingegaard's bike, I think, but it's now available to buy. Another refinement has been the front shifting. It took a big step forward last time with the introduction of these super stiff CNC machine chainrings, plus those reimagined gear ratios that kept the difference between the big ring and the little ring a consistent 13 teeth, no matter which chainring size option you went for. Now though, things have moved on another step because the cage shape has been refined and tweaked. So it's been made narrower apparently, which is something that SRAM engineers were able to do because this is now a disc brake only group set. Another thing which I particularly like is that SRAM engineers have invented a tool to help with setup. So even the most ham-fisted mechanic can now get perfect front shifting straight out of the box. See, effortless setup. Oh, and it's also 4 grams lighter. Yes! Functionally, the rear derailleur remains the same, but has shed 16 grams and also gained this oversized ceramic bearinged jockey wheel, which SRAM say is there for aesthetic reasons. And then the chain, brilliantly, has also not been forgotten in terms of weight savings. I don't think I've ever talked about a lightweight chain before, but they have managed to save 13 grams from this one. So what is then the total group set weight? Well, SRAM say they have shed 153 grams over the previous version. So all in, that comes out at 2,496 grams, which again, SRAM say is now the lightest electronic group set on the market. And that is with the power meter. It's even lighter without, 2,461 grams. Now, I can't corroborate those stats, but either way, that's some impressive weight saving, enough to get Jonas Vingegaard's Aero road bike down to the UCI weight limit, for example. And actually, important to note that given that this group set can be run one by as well, for weight weenies, there are even more weight savings to be had. You could lop off another 150 grams or so. And what then about this, the new Hammerhead Karoo head unit? Well, the backstory is that SRAM acquired Hammerhead several years ago and have been busy integrating it into their wider ecosystem of products. Now, to be clear, you do not need a Karoo to operate the new SRAM Red Groupset. You don't need any head unit to operate the group set, and any head unit can be paired up to it via AMP+. But Red and the Karoo have been designed to work in tandem. Before I get on to how, a quick update. So Hammerhead have basically been steadily winning fans over the last few years with their phone quality touchscreens and their powerful computery bits. The fact that it runs on an Android platform, which means that tech-savvy users can upload third-party apps, as well as it just making life easy for the rest of us. And this new one very much builds on that, but I'm going to focus here on how it integrates specifically to the new group set. Simplicity being the key. By connecting your group set or other SRAM AXS components like power meter or tire pressure sensors to the head unit, and then connecting the head unit to your phone, it makes setup easier across the board and also the ability to share data easier, be that power data or battery life data or shifting telemetry. And then there's also the hardware component as well. So we talked about those additional buttons on the shifter. Each one has a short press and a long press. And given that the Karoo has 4 buttons on it to operate it, then you can very easily set it up so that you can operate the Karoo entirely remotely from your handlebars. And then the one function that I particularly liked is that via the Karoo, you can get push notifications on your phone when your SRAM AXS components are running low on batteries. And those push notifications will come at the end of rides rather than in the middle of a ride when you can't do anything about it. That is great for a disorganized person such as myself. If you're running an e-bike, you get even more connected functionality as well. But what is super interesting, I think anyway, was, as mentioned earlier, some bike manufacturers will be selling complete bikes with the head unit already attached. Now, I don't know all of them, but certainly Specialized is one brand that I do know. And also complete group sets will ship with the head unit as well. So how much is a complete group set, I hear you ask? Well, $3,000, £3,000 or €3,350. Now at this moment, I do have to point out once again that price comparisons between brand new group sets and products that are already out there are not very easy to do. I mean, does anyone actually know what the SRP for the outgoing SRAM Red Groupset was? No, I thought not. A better way to compare is with complete bike prices. I got in touch with our mates at Canyon. They said they won't have any models that are exactly the same specification as the old ones, but that the price between old and new is broadly similar. So no significant price rises. So that is the new SRAM Red AXS Groupset. In use, the levers feel really good. The front shifting is fast and smooth. The rear is as good as ever. But actually the thing that I've noticed most is the braking, and not just the reduced effort of the lever, but the change in feel all the way through the lever stroke as well. But I think perhaps for me, the absolute highlight is dropping those grams. That feels like it should be the new Groupset arms race. And so I'm very, very glad that SRAM have stepped it up another gear. Pun intended. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed it. And also, crucially, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. What do you think about this new SRAM Red AXS Groupset? Just in case you haven't seen enough of it yet.